Hello, hello, hello. We're back. It is the first Friday at Gaslight. November, what is today? November 1st. Yeah, yesterday was Halloween.
You got kids, you should know.
Well, I have kids. That's why I don't know it. You know what day of the week is. I have no idea what day of the week.
You should know it the day after Halloween.
I should.
Did you guys trick or treat last night?
We did.
What was Max?
Max was Thor.
Classic.
What were you on Thanksgiving?
I was.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I was hungover on Thanksgiving.
What kind of costume is hungover?
Bit of, like quilts from my grandma.
Quilts. All right. Thanks for tuning in. We're here at Gaslight, November 1st. We are here for the first Friday, brought to you by our friends at Dakota Grizzly. Yeah, totally. For most of you,
Midwest Makers, that's badass.
Yeah, Midwest Makers. It's a apparel company based here out of St. Louis. Totally in line with so many things that
I was surprised to hear that there was a company like that in St. Louis. It has this, sick flannel. They're even on Amazon. I checked them out.
Yeah, you did a little homework?
I did, to see what I was getting myself into a little bit. I'm a huge flannel fan, so this is actually I'm living like a dream right now.
So what's more important to you, Dave? Is it flannel or beer?
Flannel.
Flannel. All right. There you go. You heard it first. Today, I'm really looking forward to this episode session because we've got my good friend Dave Maness from the Maness Brothers. Right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, you guys still the Maness Brothers.
We're
right?
still
You've
the
always
Maness
been
Brothers.
The Maness Brothers.
Since I was 5.
Since you were 5. Yeah, well, that's right. No, that's right.
Yeah,
because
5. I'm like, maybe I was 4.5 or something. I was not quite 5.
Not quite 5.
Whatever, doesn't matter. That's semantics.
All right, so now that we've completely gone straight into the minutia, and you're wondering what the hell is going on here, we're live, Facebook. Dakota Grizzly's been gracious enough to come in and support this program to highlight Midwest makers, music makers in particular, here at Gaslight Studio. And what we've been doing is bringing in some of our local songwriters that tell great stories, have great stories, and just kind of fit the vibe of what we're trying to do. And Dave is next, right?
Next, yeah. I'm not even next. I'm right now.
You're right now. That's right.
So, and who knows who's next? I'm right now.
Well, next is probably going to be, looks like we're going to have Scrub coming in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know Scrub, Scrub is definitely something you want to check out as well because it's uber entertaining, and we're going to peel that onion back.
I love Scrub.
It's going to be crazy.
Been trying to collaborate with Scrub for 2 years now. We've not quite got to it yet. We did once.
Yeah, we came in that day.
We need to do that again. Yeah, that day was a little bit like,
what the hell's going on?
What is going on? No one knew.
So here's the deal. We're going to have a little conversation, and then you guys are going to be lucky enough to hear Dave play some of his own tunes, tell stories about his music-making process. But in the meantime, what I want to do is just really introduce you to David Maness, St. Louis artist, and kind of open the door to basically what you guys do, because I have been an Uber fan since the first time I met you guys. And it was really before I even heard your music, because when I saw and met you and Jake for the first time, it was in a social environment.
To the gramophone.
It was at the gramophone, and I'm like, who the hell are these two guys? What do they do?
Yeah, we totally just were playing it. It was a Whiskey Warfest meeting. We're just man, we showed up late, and we didn't give a shit about it. We're just dude, once I have a meeting, we'll see how it goes. And we totally played it pretty cool. I don't think we worked on anything with the Whiskey War Fest there.
No,
And
no, I
then you
think
hit me up like a month, maybe it was a few weeks later about building the pedal board.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what came to fruition of this, right?
Yeah, oh, totally. Because at the time, we were still very active in the general construction business. And
Yeah, that's when you guys first started Gaslight.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I mean, you guys were probably not even a year old.
No, not at all. We were still doing work at the building. We were still doing. We had jobs outside, and
We didn't know anything about Gaslight at all, except for like Gibbons, you know, and that was it. I don't know.
So when we met the first time, we talked about a few things. Obviously, music was first because we were talking about the festival, and then we got into what do you do? What did I do? What do you do? And Jake, etc. And we crossed on the path of carpentry, and we started talking about building. And I thought it was super cool that, you know, when we talked about the music in the festival, you guys were all stoked. But when we started talking about building and fabrication, you in particular, like, you totally lit up and like, oh yeah, you know.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
So let's time out real quick there, and let's back up and tell everybody, where are you from, Dave?
O'Fallon, Missouri.
Yeah.
About 45 minutes west of here.
You're St. Louis, and you've grown up here your whole life, and
in the area.
Your brother is 5 years younger, correct?
Yeah, 4.5.
And coming up through high school, you were in a handful of bands, and you were in a particular band. You told me about it a while back. You guys did pretty well, and it was a cover band, right?
Yeah, I was in a cover band. I never wanted to be in a cover band, but I was always in bands from when I was 15, and then I got into a cover band when my drummer's sister got married, and then at that point I realized we just have fans, and we don't even need to try, and we get paid way good money to do it. So we were in a cover band for about, I guess, 2 years or so.
So what kind of cover band? What did you play?
Just whatever we wanted, really. Just good songs, 70s songs. Classic rock, Southern rock mostly, and I don't know. That's about it.
So at some point,
we did originals too. We scattered them in there. That was the whole thing, was like, we're going to do this cover band and then scatter our originals in there, and then we'll be able to, you know, get our originals out there as well.
So you did that for a couple of years?
Yeah, that was before I was old enough to be in bars. So we got to play in all these bars and stuff when I was like 19 and 20, and they just let us in to play. So we ended up drinking too.
So your brother was 14, 15?
Yeah, Jake was not in these bands. He thought it was like the lamest thing in the freaking world.
So at some point, though...
Well, at some point, the cover band moved to all originals, and we were done with doing covers. And we got Zach Sloan into the band, and it became Whiskey Mountain Rebellion, and it was all just Southern rock and roll stuff. And Zach was playing down in the city a lot. Jake was actually playing in the city in a doom metal band. And then we just started to play in the city, you know, and I got on Facebook and friended everyone in the city. So every time I came out, everyone knew who I was, or I knew who they were, and just started booking gigs and stuff left and right. And actually, me and Jake's band, like, man, all that stuff, Jake was like, there's no scene in St. Louis besides the metal scene. And I'm like, that's insane. Yeah. I know there's a freaking rock and roll scene in St. Louis. So I like spent all my time, you know, like brothers, like, I'm like, I want to show this motherfucker what's going on.
Yeah, you weren't about
to bleep that out. You can bleep that out later. But I ended up finding Bob Reuter in the Alley Ghost, and we went down to off Broadway for a big muddy, I think it was like a pig roast or something. And that's how we got into the scene, kind of.
Now, this is still you with your original band.
Yeah, this is with Whiskey Mountain Rebellion, and me and Jake started the side project during Whiskey Mountain Rebellion. Like, Maness was a side project just because we both played, and we were like, since we both play, we should get material down that we can both play and have. And then, you know how it goes. You know, everybody got older, and they're like, oh, we have to work a real job and whatnot. And the whole time, I was also working a real job, and I'm like, okay, this makes no sense to me. I'm gonna still play this stuff too. You guys don't have to.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, everybody else kind of quit and faded out, and me and Jake just kept rolling. And now we're here.
So I have two younger brothers. You're the oldest of your one brother. I mean, how was it in the early days in making decisions? You know, because at first, you just said it, you know, do metal. Metal is the only thing happening, and you're like, no way. And then you guys get along for a second.
We got along really well at the beginning right there.
So what did you play? I mean, did you do a hybrid of doom metal meets rock and roll?
That's what we still do. It's a hybrid of doom metal and blues, and we still do it to this day. And we just started doing that, and then that picked up. And Whiskey Fest kind of, when we both started throwing that, and we got really into doing that as well, and booking bands from out of town and whatnot. And then we always wanted to go on tours. So, I mean, Jake always wanted to do that stuff. So Jake mentioned a 30-day tour one time. I'm just like, that's insanity. There's no way. This doesn't even make any sense. And then after we kept playing, after we kept seeing what we were getting ourselves into, I'm like, okay, this is plausible. And the first 30-day tour, I quit my day job, which is a cabinet shop, and quit that. And I haven't had a job since then, like besides Gaslight, and that was like probably my realest job I ever had was working for under JB.
Yeah, that was the work dog years.
Mm-hmm. And now it's just all everything's side work now. It's just. So
would you say that the Maness Brothers is your primary job, and then everything else is supplemental, or do you?
Financially, no, but I'm wide open for any Maness Brothers opportunity there ever it was. You know, I mean, if we get booked for a tour, I can say, yeah, let's go do it. I don't have to ask my boss if I can get off. I work for myself only, so that's why I do that. So
one of the things that you guys do and have curated and grown over the years is the Whiskey Warfest, right? Tell everybody real quickly, what it is, how many years you've been doing it, and if somebody was to attend the next one, what can they expect?
Yeah, this will be our 9th year doing it, and it's turned into just a total family, thing. And when I say family, it's like our family and people who've attended almost every year. And there's about 300 people that are literally like usuals, and we get stragglers of about 100, 200 other people that come in that we don't know. But it's mostly people who just love the event, and we get bands from all over the country and all over. I mean, Canada is the other one we get, but it's all of our friends we meet on the road and whatnot, and we just get them there. We can throw them a good show, and that's what it is. If you come next year and you've never been, you're going to see a lot of people who are familiar with it. They just know what's going on, and they love coming for the atmosphere and the music.
So for those of you that are watching, first thing, at the Maness Brothers on Facebook, Instagram, give them a follow first. And when you do that, David, explain to them your style. Like when they go to check out the Maness Brothers, what are
the
they
music?
Hear? Yeah, exactly.
It's just, it really is just rock and roll, but we have a lot of influence from blues for sure. Hill country blues is our biggest influence, and kind of that just thumb picking, finger picking, kind of groovy, and then heavy blues stuff is what you're going to get. So,
but you guys are a two-piece.
Yeah, we're only a two-piece, and we got to make it work with a two-piece. That's what makes it interesting to me, is making all of our songs work with just two people only.
So I've seen you guys play, obviously, a lot of times. Heard all of your music, and the thing that I find really intriguing is the way that you handle the vocals, because it is kind of a tennis match, you know, between you and Jake. What's the process? You know, when you guys sit down to make music, how does it start? You know, where do you guys start? Do you start with a story? Do you start with a sound?
We really start, there's two ways we do it. We either start with, we go in, like in a typical practice, we'll go in and just play some music, riffs, because we're both musicians. You know, neither of us began writing lyrics that often and writing songs, and like we're not typical singer-songwriter people. So we go in there and we just write riffs and we write songs. And then Jake's been he writes a lot of good hooks. And then he has nothing else to go with it sometimes. So he'll write a hook, and I mean things has changed over the years too. But traditionally, like maybe he'll write a hook, and then we'll sit down and be like, okay, so I could see that hook, and that kind of starts telling the story. So I kind of connect the story, and then Jake will write some lyrics to connect the story. All of our best songs, I feel like we both write for sure. We both have our own verses, and we both come together on the choruses, and that's pretty much it. How we do it. I mean,
so I mean, obviously you're around the music scene, a number of music scenes, not only locally but regionally with the touring acts that you guys tend to land with. Do you feel like the brother kind of DNA chemistry factor? Do you think that's an advantage?
Yeah, I think so for sure.
You know,
yeah.
Talk about that. Give us an example of how or when, a moment in time in which you were like, this is easy because he's my brother and this happened, or, you know, how does the brother thing work?
Works in mysterious ways. I'll tell you that.
Well, let's go to the dark side. How easy is it to battle your bandmate when it's your brother?
Yeah, it's way easier for sure. And it creates way more battles, and you can say whatever you want, and it doesn't even matter. And most of the time it doesn't even make sense what we're talking about. We're just trying to freaking get at one another, you know. But when it comes down to it, we sound similar a lot of times. And we're doing about the same thing as far as life goes. I mean, we travel the entire world playing freaking aggressive rock and roll blues stuff. And when we both get on point, it's an unstoppable kind of force that's like laid upon people. And the energy's so much there that it's just, I mean, you can't even mess with it. That's how I feel about it. Like when we're on stage, it's like, it's just full octane, just nuts.
Yeah.
And nobody can do anything about it.
So given the route, given the touring that you do, obviously you guys are creating a foothold in Europe, and you've got a couple domestic routes as well as all the way up to Alaska. Mm. Give people an idea of, you know, if they were to come to a show, just really describe it. What are they going to see? What can they expect?
You're going to see two dudes that have been fighting the hard fight of just living life and working hard on other things and, you know, making money in other ways, and coming from the same family. Of course, we're brothers. So what you're going to see is a ball of energy put out to you. So, I mean, I would say it's a good place to get aggression out off your chest. If you want to come out and see somebody play and just freaking see somebody just give it their all, where there's just a pile of sweat underneath it, that's what you're going to get for sure.
And then the one thing that I'm extremely appreciative of, actually Matt and we talked about this the other day, is the network of bands that you tend to cycle with, that you tour with, that you associate with. They are all road dogs.
Oh yeah.
You know, they typically,
a lot of them more than us for sure.
So you guys have introduced us and brought in James Legge and Sean James and Left Lane Cruiser and all of these artists that are literally full-time touring artists.
Yeah.
Is there anybody within that crew who stands out to you? Who do you look at and are like, damn, that's badass.
Yeah, hands down, Sean James for sure. He's one of the only guys. I mean, that dude is superstar level. That's where he's going. Like, definitely. I've never seen anybody do that in my life in the way that we're all working at, you know, and we know a lot of people. But, yeah, he's on the up and up right now. So a lot of the, like Left Lane, I love those guys. I was listening to those guys when I was 19. Yeah. But, I mean, there's like a blue collar, I'm saying, yeah, there's a blue collar worker with music, and that's Left Lane Cruiser. They make a living off music, but they're not going to be selling out, you know, pageants or, you know, arenas or anything like that. Sean James is on the up and up to do that, but Left Lane, that's kind of, I mean, I'm not saying that's where I see myself, but I people kind of overlook that when they're being in a band and whatnot. You can make 50 grand a year, you know, as a touring artist, but you're not Lady Gaga huge. You're not selling out arenas and whatnot. But there's
It's a living.
Yeah, like James Legg, that's his living. You know, he's not going to be. I mean, James Legg is like a cult following. It's like watching freaking I don't know, what's a cult movie or something. You know what I mean? Like those something like that or something. Just a lot of people, certain people, freaking love it and flip out like me.
Sure.
And it's totally a cult following, but his cult following is enough to keep him on the road and keep him making money.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how Left Lane is too. They can make money, and they're great. I love seeing these performers. But Sean's really the only exception in that crew that blows out to a different audience, that they can actually be a higher tiered artist.
So
does that make sense?
No, totally. Because I mean, I've seen each of them in their element, and you know, in here and watch what happened on social media and YouTube and all those things, and there's a difference.
Yeah, millions, compared to like thousands with like, you know, everybody else.
It's pretty insane.
But you don't even really see that, which is sad. I know Left Lane ain't gonna be watching this, and neither is James Legg, but the thing is, it's like you don't see what they can do. Like when they toured, I was having a conversation with them in Germany. We played a fest together with Left Lane, and they're on like a $40,000 tour for 1 month. And I was like, what the hell? That's freaking amazing. But the thing is, it's like when they put out a YouTube video, it ain't millions.
Yeah.
It's like thousands of people, you know, that's it. You know, it's not like an exceptionally large amount of people, but they're making, you know, they're making the money. Making it work.
So here's one of the things, a question I have for you is St. Louis. Within the scene that you idolize or tour with, I don't know what the proper word is for that, but within that crew, where you're from, your day jobs, how you approach it, where does St. Louis come into play? Like, what does our community, our scene, our blue collar background, or whatever you want to call it, you know, how does that come into play whenever you guys tour? Do you feel as if St. Louis has an influence on your style of music and or how you approach the
I'll tell
market?
a little story about, we played Hog Shoot Opry, which is a really beautiful fest in Champaign. And I asked the promoter if I should lock the doors. And he was like, you guys are freaking from St. Louis, aren't you? You guys are, that's freaking obvious. But yeah, I mean, it plays a part. It's a dirty city. It's old. And, you know, James Lake comes from a dirty city too. I mean, Chattanooga's old, but it's not as freaking populated as St. Louis and whatnot. But it kind of gets you a little more calloused, I think. It's definitely not, I don't know. It's hard to say, really. I mean, Left Lane comes from Fort Wayne, which is totally reminds me of St. Louis. Like
Steel Town.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, in one of our lyrics that Jake wrote, it's a dirty old town. We got our hearts set on dying. It's the same old shit, and we just keep on lying, which is like, I don't know. We're lying about saying St. Louis is the most badass town there freaking is. And I mean, we're not lying when we say that. It is. But it just, I don't know.
Sure.
Nobody cares that much when I say I'm from St. Louis, or like they think that's just
But do you care?
crime. What I do, yeah. Me and Jake love it.
Yeah.
So we think it's badass, for sure.
What's your favorite thing about St. Louis?
I don't know. It's a hard thing to say.
Tacos,
It's
Provel,
kind of,
urban chestnut.
man, I'm trying to move out of the city, to be honest with you.
Proximity.
I like
to...
the city. You know, it's great. I mean, it's a lot of work for me because it's a broke down city and everything's breaking down. I'm a carpenter, so I can fix it all. So that's good for
Job
me.
security,
Job
right?
security is great here for sure. And I mean, it makes you feel cool when you say you're from St. Louis. That's it. You kind of have that kind of callous vibe when you go to like a place like especially like college towns or something. You're like, I'm from freaking St. Louis, man. And I'm not even hard or anything. I've never been mugged or nothing. Like, it's like, I'm not a like,
but your
badass
mugshot from St. Charles is one of the greatest things ever, dude.
That's that's the city folk
That's
going
the
to
county,
St.
though,
Charles.
right?
Yeah, right.
Wrong county. Now, so real quick then, what's next for the Maness Brothers? What's coming up in 2020? What can people expect?
Well, we got a new record coming out with old Carl Napa. We don't know what we're gonna do with it yet. It's out.
Sounds amazing.
And we've been living our lives and trying to get shit rolling right with that. We're booked in Alaska again at Memorial Day weekend, and then we got Germany booked again, so we got to fill in the dates. So
yeah,
we're just gonna try to get as much content out as possible and go from there, and just do the same thing we always do, just keep on going.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing, kind of coming full circle for me. The thing that I respect about you guys is your ground game is second to none. You guys do walk the walk. And what I really respect about the approach is the willingness and the drive to, you're in the car. You guys get out there, and now you're at the point where you're jumping on the plane.
Right.
So you kind of like represent a goal for so many artists locally.
Yeah, it's very cool. Like, I've been feeling pretty down about. I mean, it's easy to get down on yourself when you're a musician, because the music industry is just like, you get off a tour and you got to get back on a tour. You got to get off a record, then make a new record. Doesn't matter. It's no stopping point. So when you don't do that much productivity for like a month even, you're like, man, what am I freaking doing? But what's great about St. Louis is I go out and all the musicians are following one another and everything, and they come up to me and they're like, man, you guys are living the dream. You guys are doing what I've always wanted to do, and that really makes me feel so much better and kind of just relieves some stress and makes me want to go back out and record more music and get back out on the road so I can do it again. So I can just, obviously, one person, Dan Wright, he's a author in town. He's writing a lot of books about the music scene,
right?
Which is really cool. I don't know if you guys are aware of him or not, but
he's over at Dunaway Books.
Dunaway Books, that's where he works, and he was just telling me the other day, he was like, look, man, I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you and, Brother Lee guys too. And he was like, I would not be going on the road, and I would not be, because he's going on the road selling his book and doing like readings and stuff. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I can't believe that I inspired anybody to do anything. I mean, that just makes the world to me. So that's why we'll just keep doing it. There's no way I wouldn't keep doing it just because of that. If you can.
Last thing, I would be remiss if I didn't bring it up. Your woodworking skills, your Missouri Dave. Tell everybody, what is Missouri Dave?
Missouri Dave is my woodworking name.
but if somebody wanted a woodworking project,
right,
what would Missouri Dave make for them?
Pretty much anything you want. It's like, hand little carrying cases for beer. I like making rustic stuff that's kind of easy for me to just go in my shop and zone out and just whip something together. And tabletops, whatever, anything that looks antiqued and rustic, whatnot, I could do that. But
we joked around a little while back. The favorite tool for all of us was like a flamethrower.
Dude, yeah,
torch.
I'm a huge flamethrower fan.
The saws and the blades were secondary. Like, I want to burn.
That's kind of my thing. The past year or so, I've just been burning everything.
There you go.
And that's been great. But that's my second passion kind of thing besides music, is woodworking for sure.
Awesome. Well, Dave, thank you for your time, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So now we're gonna be privileged enough to hear a handful of tunes, right? You're gonna play some songs.
Yeah, right now.
Tell us a little bit about when you play them. Tell us a little bit about them, where they came from, and really appreciate your time and look forward to 2020 for sure, man.
Yeah. Hell yeah, JB.
Thanks, Dave.
We taking a break, or are we just going in?
No, you're rolling. You're live. Yeah. You're on a quick break. Thanks, Matt.
So you're out.
I'm out. It's all you.
Cool. Bam.
How come you all go? I don't know who I know anymore. Same bar, same show, the same feeling of being alone. Well, I'm here. I turned 30 last year. I got no one to blame but me, but that's who I feel. But I won't let this life of mine disappear. I wasted all this time. I nearly lost my mind. I wasted all this time. I wasted all this time. I nearly lost my mind. I wasted all this time. Well, I'm gone. Well, I'm gone. Well, I'm gone. Well, I'm gone. I wasted all this time. I nearly lost my mind. I wasted all this time. I wasted all this time. I nearly lost my mind. I wasted all this time. I ain't going down. I ain't going down. I ain't going down. I ain't going down. Thanks y'all for listening and tuning into this. Thanks Dakota Grizzly for this flannel. It's freaking awesome. Alright, this is off the new record. No one's ever heard it really. Dip my sins in the river, let them flow downstream, cleanse my mind of the burden that I laid on me. Well, I've never been a man shine down on me. But Lord, I've got my demons buried deep in the eye can see. If my sins in the river, let them flow downstream. Cleanse my mind of the burden that I laid on me. Well, Lord, if you're up there, well, I know I've lost my way. But I'm down here standing along the banks of that 11-point river, but just a hoping that you've got something to say. So dip my sins in the river, let them flow downstream. Cleanse my mind of the burden that I laid on me. Dip my sins in the river, let them flow downstream. Cleanse my mind of the burden that I laid on me. Cool. Next thing I'm gonna do is play a little country song. I don't even know how many I'm supposed to play. How many do you usually play?
How many do you want to play?
Just gonna do one more.
Okay. Play me one more.
You're the man, Matt. Behind the scenes, you got Matt McElrath making us all look really good. Wrote this song about 7 years ago. Well, my engine, it don't run as good as it used to. My insides burn from whiskey and thoughts about you. Well, I never asked for much in this godforsaken world, except me, a guitar, and a girl. Well, my girl, she ran away across the country yesterday, and my fingers, Lord, they're too shy to play. Well, I don't know where I belong in this cold, lonesome world without me, a guitar, and a girl. Well, I write her all these songs to get her to love me, and all this time just hoping she would stay. riding back and forth, and I'm fighting back my tears. Well, maybe we'll get together again someday. Well, my girl, she ran away across the country yesterday, and my fingers, Lord, they're too shy to play. Well, I don't know where I belong in this cold, lonesome world without me, a guitar and a girl. Well, my girl, she ran away across the country yesterday, and my fingers, Lord, they're too shy to play. Well, I don't know where I belong in this cold, lonesome world without me, a guitar and a girl. She's about halfway across the country, and I'm singing in a bar, all drunk and lonely, thinking about what it is I'm gonna do. Well, I guess I'll get up my old guitar and I'll write her a song to before these old hands will give out on me too. Well, my girl, she ran away across the country yesterday, and my fingers, Lord, they're too shy to play. Well, I don't know where I belong in this cold, lonesome world without me, a guitar and a girl. Without me, a guitar and a girl.
Right on. Thank you guys so much.